Good morning, everyone. I know some folks are still connecting and joining us, but thank you for being here with us this morning. I am very excited to be here with you today. I am Ashley Sklar. I am the Adult Services and Community Engagement Consultant with the Division of Library Development at the State Library, for those of you who don't know me. And I'm excited to be here for the Lieutenant Governor's Computing Challenge Information Session. We're really excited to have Jennifer Michalak. See, I ask and then I'm like, okay, I got it right. It's always tricky to say a new name for the first time, right? From the Department of Education with us to share all about this program and the challenge that they are working on. So this is a multi-state agency partnership, as you can see. You've probably noticed we're recording the session. We will share that recording out with you all, as well as the slides that Jennifer will be showing us. And I will be here with you. I will be looking at the chat, so feel free to pop your questions in there. I'll keep an eye on that. We'll answer questions as we go, and then we'll also have time to address any that come up at the end as well. So with that, welcome, Jennifer. Thank you. Take it away.
Thank you. I am going to share my screen. Okay, apparently I got muted. Hopefully you can all hear me now. So my name is Jennifer Michalak, and I am the Math and Computer Science Consultant at the Connecticut State Department of Education. And I'm thrilled to be partnering with the Connecticut State Library to share with you an opportunity for students in your areas that, I know as we head into the months of February and early spring, libraries across the state look for various programmings to offer their communities. And I think there's a great opportunity here for you to do just that. So I want to give you a little bit of history on this challenge. This came out of the Council on Women and Girls. The Council on Women and Girls has 4 subcommittees, and this is from the Education and STEAM Committee. And within that committee, there was a group of people who were charged with developing a statewide coding challenge. This charge was actually started in 2019. And we had grandiose plans of what this challenge was going to look like. And then the calendar turned to 2020, and I don't think we need any reminders of what happened then. So very quickly, we had to rethink what we wanted to do. The goal of the program was to provide all students in Connecticut an opportunity to be exposed for computer science. We know that there's large gaps across communities in terms of what our school systems do. And so we really wanted to not only work with school systems, but informal education partners. And I believe our state libraries are a critical informal education partner in our state to support this work. Again, the intent is if students are exposed to computer science early on, they will continue to participate. And we know that participation in computer science will lead to them potentially wanting to explore careers in that area. And we know right now that's a great area of need for Connecticut's workforce. When we first started that in 2020, as I mentioned, we had to really simplify things. So what we did very quickly is we created what was called the Concept Challenge. Through the years, we've added other challenges, but the Concept Challenge remains. What I like about the Concept Challenge is anyone can do it. All we need is for a student to come up with an idea, typically an idea of something that could better their own life, the community, the world at large. Coding for good is kind of our theme. And with this idea, how might technology help that? So, and we speak about technology and computing solutions very broadly. So it could be a robot, it could be a website, it could be an app. It does, excuse me, we don't limit the creativity of our students. And in the concept challenge, they go in and there's a Google form that they fill out. They answer questions to a variety of question prompts, and they create a short audio visual artifact that describes their solution. Other than the video, that is exactly what the concept challenge was way back in 2020. As I mentioned, we wanted to broaden that to provide various levels, because coming up with an idea is your entry point. But as we think about getting more exposure to computing, we wanted to be able to maybe bring in some coding, some algorithmic thinking, things like that. So in 2021, we developed 2 additional challenges. The prototype challenge. The prototype challenge is for a student who maybe wants to dabble in a little bit of coding and has a little bit more than just an idea. They have more of a vision of how it could all come together. They have written responses, a development plan, which really can be like a flow chart, a storyboard, anything like that. And then they do have to code one piece of it. And then finally, the fully developed, excuse me, challenge is called the development challenge. And that's where they need a full working solution. When we do this, we use in the prototype challenge, we use both Launchpad for both challenges. Launchpad is a platform put out by Ed Advance as part of their Skills 21, and they have partnered with us for the challenge. So who can participate? This is specifically designed for students in grades 3 through 12. And when they submit their grade band. So we've grouped them, and that was done very purposefully. Even the most skilled coder at 4th grade in the development challenge is probably not going to be as sophisticated as a grade 11 student who submits to the development challenge, simply because of cognitive ability at that level. So we wanted to make sure that we were kind of, in some ways, comparing apples to apples. And we also know that when we think about the skills needed to be successful in today's world, we know that collaboration is really important. So while we do allow individual students to submit, we also allow them to submit with a team of up to 5 students. So what's nice about that is if there are some students who really love the coding aspect and others that are like, that's not my thing, but I really like to be creative, they can work together to come up with a solution. As I mentioned, I view our Connecticut State Library Association as an informal education partner. And while you're not charged with actually implementing our state approved standards, you certainly, in the work that you do and the programming that you provide, complement that. And you will see here that we've taken the time to align each one of the challenges that I mentioned to the standards approved by our State Board of Education, including the American Association of State Library Standards, which I would imagine you're probably most familiar with, along with the ISTE standards, which is probably very much a part of your everyday work. So again, we're trying to show that alignment, to show that this doesn't have to be an extra thing. It really enhances what people are already doing in and beyond the classroom. So some of you out there may not have a lot of experience with coding yourself, or maybe you're like, she mentioned a flowchart. I'm not really sure what that is. What we provided is a lot of just-in-time professional development. We have a variety of recorded webinars on the website that will help an adult support children. And then we also have a variety of YouTube videos as a way for you to educate yourself on different elements of the submission process. We do have something called a Challenge Champion this year. This was an addition. And when the Connecticut State Library agreed to be a supporter of this, we quickly went to the committee and said, kind of like, hold it. We want to have at least one of these available to our public librarians. And so what this is if your library is in an area that is considered an alliance district. There's a list of alliance districts on the State Department website. Alliance districts means the bottom 35 performing districts in our state. Then you could sign up to be a challenge champion. And what that means is that you would get a $100 gift card just for signing up, but we expect a little something. And what we want is we want you to recruit 30 students to make a submission and recruit additional adults to support submission. Now, in your case, where it's librarians, you may maybe partner with other libraries in the general region and have those adults work to get more submissions. If you do what you're supposed to do as a challenge champion, you can earn a $150 additional Amazon gift card for a total of $250. When you get these slides, these are all live links. So where it says click here, you really can click here and you will get the application to apply to be that. We're limiting it to only 10 this year. It's on your first come, first serve basis. But I did want to make you aware of that opportunity. So now you might be thinking, well, this is great, but I need a catch. I need a way to get kids to my library to engage them in some of this work. Through the Infosys Foundation USA, they have partnered with Code Joy. Code Joy is a virtual robotics student session. They range anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. What could be really interesting, again, if this is something the Connecticut State Library is interested in doing, they offer 3 different virtual robotics are coming up. One is already in process for this week, but there are 2 more. One scheduled the week of February 5th through the 9th called Robot Romeo. We will take on Shakespeare. Shakespeare, we think of as certainly classic literature at its finest, fits your theme. And then the other one is robot relaxation. I, for one, find when I read, that's when I'm most relaxed during the course of the day. And what these are is you sign up for the session that you want. They can house as many as 400 students at one time. And those 400 students don't have to be in the same location. So that could be, maybe if you're down in Fairfield County, you get a bunch of the Fairfield County librarians to kind of plan one day, this is what we're going to offer. So that is something that is, sorry about that. That is open to you as a supporter of this work. We work with Kelsey Derringer and Matt Schilber out of Code Joy. They are incredibly dynamic. And I think these are probably best suited for kids grades 3 through 8, but certainly could go higher if need be. The more advanced the students, sometimes they'll show like the behind the scenes and how coding is actually making what they do work as well. So you kind of see multiple aspects of computing. So here's the timeline. We launched this challenge in October, but we don't have to submit until April 26th. So there's a really long on-ramp. That's why we were so excited to be able to share this with you in January. You still have 3 months. So as you're thinking about your winter programming, this might be something that will just naturally fit in. Judging occurs in May. What we do with the judging is we work with a part of UConn does the concept challenge. They will actually, the Worth Institute, I believe is the name of it. They look at all the submissions for the concept challenge and highlight the ones that they think are the most creative. And then we have people who register to judge the prototype and the development. And there's a rubric and things like that that are available. And based upon that, we highlight submissions from each category at each grade band. And we now are able to have an in-person event. The first 2 years it was virtual, but we do have it in person. The Lieutenant Governor is there in person welcoming the students. There's some refreshments. It's housed at Hartford Tech and Innovation Hub, which is just a really neat building. It's interesting to see how technology and computing, it kind of has a Google theme to it. If you've seen any of the Google workspaces around the country. And each student who submits gets a certificate signed by the Lieutenant Governor. In the past, it was a emailed certificate, but this year, because we do have some funding, we are mailing home certificates because we really felt that was an equity issue. Students who may not have a printer at home just have this thing living, where maybe they want to put it on their refrigerator or display in their home in some other way. So I mentioned that we have a website, and there's lots and lots of information. These are live links. I'm going to see if I can get this to work. You should be able to. You should be seeing the link now. This is our website. This brings you to the educators page. As a librarian, I consider you to be an educator. And it talks about each challenge and how to support that. We also on the homepage have a for students. This gallery shows some previous submissions, again, to give you an idea of the scope of work that some students have done. We also have an FAQ section. This is new this year. So you'll see, like, in case you have a concern about something. On the About page, one of the things I like the most is, how do I do this? It's like really a walkthrough. And there's this how-to guide. So again, as you're starting to develop your programming, you might say, you know what, I want to do this. How do I do it? If you click the how-to guide, it literally is a step-by-step process. So this in some ways could be your series that you do. And we have one of these how-to guides for each of the challenges: concept, prototype, and development. We also have some incentives. With the incentives, if they come from an alliance district, there are some more things. And we talked about the challenge champions. And then last year we were able to get donations, tours of facilities, museum tickets, things like that, that we were able to distribute to some of our highlighted submissions. All of that information is here. And then, as I mentioned before, there are a ton of resources available to support the challenge. You can see what the rubric is. You can see webinars that we've done in the past that provide additional resources. There's some tools. If you do anything with Lego education, we link to them, some tips and tools. So the website is continually being updated. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's going to be added, hopefully very soon, is going to be a video that has a corresponding lesson plan for teachers. We're going to roll those out, hopefully week by week, beginning of February is the goal. So again, it's kind of the intent is, even if you have no experience with this and have never done it before, we have lots of resources to support you through the process. I would be remiss if I did not let you know that Amazon is a presenting sponsor. Amazon donated $10,000 last year to this challenge, and Infosys Foundation USA is our professional development benefactor. So they are working primarily with the educators in terms of supporting them. You will see that we work with Ed Advance, as I mentioned, and Ready CT is our fiduciary lead on this. So I would want to, again, in this environment, make sure that you are aware that we are supported by these organizations. If you're interested in learning more, again, when you get your the link of these slides, you can go to the website. If you have specific questions, you can email info@lp.cc, and we have a QR code that will get you directly to the page as well for additional information. I'm a firm believer that you just have to get on the website and kind of play. I could probably spend an hour going through every resource and bore you till the end of time. But if you play and look for what you want and what you're most interested in, that's going to give us the biggest bang for our buck. So at this time, I will stop sharing my screen and take any questions that you may have. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Oh, Jennifer, it looks like you muted also. I'm
I
sure
don't know how
intentionally.
there we go. I'm going to put my direct email in the chat. So if you have a question and want to email me directly, I am more than happy to respond to you.
Excellent, thank you. I know I dropped the link to the website in the chat, so hopefully folks have that open. But if you want to put your questions in the chat, that's great. If you want to unmute yourself and ask Jennifer a question, that works too.
Great question. Will this be offered next year? Yes, that is the plan. We actually plan to offer this, and that was a big part of the reason why we got Ready CT involved. This is currently the Lieutenant Governor's Computing Challenge. As you all know, Lieutenant Governors are elected officials. And so, you know, we don't know when our current Lieutenant Governor will no longer be in that role. And so we're really trying to brand it as a way that this can live beyond her tenure as Lieutenant Governor. And that's why we're continually seeking more sponsors and things like that. So that's a really great question in terms of there are some resources that will help them learn to code. And depending upon your own experience with coding, again, the only challenges that require coding would be the prototype and the development. And so they might be able to code a little something on that resources page. I think it's in the tips and tools. We've linked to some places that allow like some free coding experiences, like with Scratch and things like that. And again, if a student doesn't know how to code but knows a friend who does, they could potentially team up. But you don't have to code in order to participate.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions for Jennifer, I was like trying to count to 10 in my head, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Again, you can use the chat or unmute. But if not, then I will just say thank you, Jennifer, for sharing this all with us. We did record, and I do have the slides, so we will get that processed and posted, and make sure we include that in our communications, so that you have access to the video and all of the incredible resources. That website is impressive with how much information you have on there. So lots to dive into. With that, anything else you wanted to add, Jennifer?
Thank you for the opportunity to present. And I really, really look forward to seeing some submissions from your libraries. And again, thank you for all that you do to support Connecticut students across the state.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We very much appreciate your time this morning, and hope to have libraries and students engaged on this work. Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
take care, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.